Beginning our class together today on our mats, let's take ourselves down into Shavasana. Beginning our practice with some relaxation. As we come down onto the floor, we're going to straighten out our legs, level across the hips, relaxing across the shoulders. Take a couple of nice big breaths in, beginning to notice how we're feeling this morning. Notice if there's any tension through the neck, any tension in the shoulders. Try to relax those shoulders, both right and left sides, down onto the floor. Now as we're laying here, noticing how our legs are feeling now. Maybe we can turn the toes out a little bit as we relax and open up through the hips. And with our eyes closed, the muscles in our face are relaxed as well. I want us to focus on our breathing. Inhale through the nose, lifting the stomach as we do so as the diaphragm expands. And exhale, relax the body. Continuing to breathe in and out through the nose. Just becoming aware of how that feels. Realizing that sometimes this can be the hardest part of our practice. Just staying still, allowing ourselves a moment of pause to step back, not to think about anything other than our breathing and how our body feels right now. This is good for helping with any stress we might be going through, any anxious feelings we might have, any frustration that we might be experiencing. A few calm, deep breaths can really help settle things into a more relaxed state. Continuing to lay down on the floor, let's just reach our arms up long overhead. Nice big stretch. Opening up through the shoulders, the rib cage. Feel free to reach one arm longer than the other, right side, left side. Noticing how this feels throughout the body, taking deeper, fuller breaths. And we can start to relax the arms down. As we do so, let's gather the knees into our chest, giving ourselves a nice big hug. Holding on to the knees, starting to gently rock side to side. Holding knees to chest, noticing any tightness in the back, tension through the hips. We'll start to draw the feet onto the ground again, leaving the knees bent. Preparing for glute bridges. We'll have the feet flat on the floor, the arms down by our sides. Inhale, lift the hips up to the ceiling, activating our glutes. Exhale, slowly lowering down. Make sure the feet are close enough that you are using the glutes. Inhale to lift. Exhale to release. We'll just do this one more time. Inhale, lifting the hips up. And exhale, lower. Taking ourselves over onto our sides. Slowly reaching our way up, we're going to find tabletop. Tabletop position, hands coming directly beneath the shoulders, knees are directly beneath the hips. Ensuring that belly buttons are pulled in, elbows are slightly softened, fingers are spread out for really good support. Taking cows and cats. Go ahead and inhale, look forward with the eyes, opening up the chest. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Very good. Holding tabletop position, making sure we're strong through the shoulders, pulling in through the bellies, long through the necks, coming into spinal balance. Extending the right arm directly forward, press that left leg back behind us and lower down. Inhale, left arm forward, right leg back. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, one more each side. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, holding it here, and then pressing back into child's pose. Sinking the weight down to the heels, extending our arms, and trying to relax the heads. Taking a couple of breaths, calmly in and out through the nose, as we notice any stretch through the shoulders, the upper back, maybe in the hips or the knees, maybe even down in through the ankles. Taking that body scan, checking in with the body, noticing how we're doing today. Preparing for our modified flow series, let's inhale forward into our kneeling plank. Shoulders stacked above wrists, strong through the core as we exhale, lower halfway down, baby crocodile. Inhale, pressing straight up, keeping the backs flat into plank. Exhale, push back into child's pose. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhale, forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, hover, elbows coming in close to the ribs. Inhale, pressing straight up. Exhale, pushing back. Inhale, forward, back stay flat the entire time. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back. Last time. Inhaling forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press straight up. Exhale, push back, resting in child's pose. Very good, everybody. Let's slowly curl the toes as we walk our feet and hands together. Take our time, coming halfway up to the monkey pose at the top of our mat. In monkey, making sure backs are flat, knees are slightly soft, feeling a little bit of a stretch up the backs of those legs. Slowly bend the knees, inhale, reverse swan dive, lift the arms up nice and tall above the head to prayer, and exhale, release. Very good. We're going to come into our sun salutation series next. Sun salutation series is just our choreographed movement from standing to down on the ground, working through at whichever level you're able to do today. Together, we will start in Tadasana, mountain pose. Really strong, pressing down through all 4 corners of our feet, zipping up through those thighs, proud posture, open fingers. Take a big inhale, lift the hands up above the head. Exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive into forward fold. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. Exhale, release into forward fold. Softening the knees, place the hands on the ground as we step back into plank position. From plank, press back into down dog. Inhale forward into plank. We can take the knees down to the floor as we exhale, chaturanga. Slowly lower. Inhale, scooping up for cobra. And exhale, push back, down dog or child's pose. Slowly walk or step the feet all the way up between our hands, coming halfway up to monkey. Bending those knees, inhale, reverse swan dive, lift tall. And exhale, sweep back. Chair position, like a squat. We're going to do this one again. We inhale, lift up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. And exhale, release. Watching for the change now. We're going to step our left foot back into a crescent lunge. Crescent lunge, knee stays above the ankle, back leg stays straight. If you're able to, let's go ahead and lift those arms up nice and tall. From here, take one more big inhale. Exhale, release the hands down. Sweep that right foot back behind us, however you need to, pressing back into down dog or child's pose. Inhale forward into plank. We can take the knees to the ground if we need to as we exhale, chaturanga, slow lower. Inhale, cobra, baby or full. And exhale, press back, down dog or child's pose. We look up between our hands, sweep that right foot there. Again, it's the right foot forward and lunge. Sweep the arms up if we're able to, holding crescent lunge. Back leg is straight, front leg is bent towards 90 degrees. We're going to sweep the hands down to the floor, help that left foot step all the way up, come halfway up into monkey. Bending our knees, big inhale, lift up, and exhale, sweep into chair. We'll repeat that on the left side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, swan dive, flat backs, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. Exhale, lowering to fold. Soften the knees as we step our right foot back into crescent lunge. When you're ready, lift the arms up nice and tall. Crescent lunge. We hold very strong posture, opening up that back right hip. One more big inhale. Exhale, release our hands down. Help that left foot get back into plank. Press back into down dog or child's pose. From here, inhale into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, that controlled lower as we inhale, lift up to the cobra. Exhale, pushing back, down dog or child's pose. Crescent lunge again, we look up between the hands, get the left foot there, knee above ankle. Whenever we're ready, lifting our arms up, opening up through the hip, relaxing our shoulders. One more big inhale. Exhale, hands come down, help that right foot step aside. Coming halfway up to monkey, flat backs. Bend our knees, big inhale, lift up. And exhale, sweep, sitting into chair. Inhale, lift. And exhale, relax. Very good, everybody. From here, staying tall, standing in mountain. I want us to take a couple of big breaths, noticing how we're feeling. Good, a little rise in our heart rate, a little increase in our breathing. Maybe our body's feeling slightly warmed. Taking our lateral flexion next. We're going to inhale, lift that right arm high above the head. And once you've got it as high as you're able to get, you're going to reach that left hand down a little bit farther. Reach this right hip over to the side slightly. The point is stretching down that whole right side of the body. Good, let's take a big inhale, lift the left arm up as well. Right hand drops down as we reach that left hand just a little bit higher. Good, notice how I'm pushing my left hip out, helping to stretch open that whole left side. Inhale, lift the right arm up. And exhale, relax. Taking a standing forward fold, I want us to interlace the fingers in back of us, pointing the fingers down towards the floor and just leaving the arms nice and gentle behind us. As we slowly start to soften the knees, we're going to hinge at the hips, flat back, folding forward. As soon as we feel a stretch, we can just relax over the legs. Maybe some of us feel like the arms can lift up off the back, allowing a slight shoulder stretch if that's comfortable. Great chest expansion. Couple of breaths here. Slowly bring the arms back in, relax the arms down, take our time rolling and rounding all the way up. Very nicely done, everybody. I'll ask that we step to the top of our mat if we've moved at all. Coming in through our warrior series. Always starting proud in our mountain pose, Tadasana. Keeping our right foot planted, we're going to take our left foot back behind us into warrior one. We leave hips and shoulders facing forward over that right knee, pressing our left foot firmly and completely down into the ground. Let's lift our arms up really nice and high as we bend a little bit deeper into that right knee. Remember, the option's always there for heart center instead. I want us to feel a nice stretch of that left calf as we engage through the core. Focus on our breathing. In and out through the nose. I'll encourage everyone to close your eyes. Notice how this feels as we stand in warrior one. Very proudly, open heart, tall through the crown of our head. noticing all four corners of both feet firmly pressing down into the ground. Slowly, we'll open up into Warrior Two, turning to the long edge of your mat, flipping your feet open, noticing that your feet are basically running like a T if you brought them together. They're running on the same line on your mat. Shoulders are stacked on top of that line, so are elbows and hands. Let's reach over that right knee, keeping the knee stacked on top of ankle. Sometimes it's handy to look down at the leg and make sure you can see your big toe on the inside of your knee. Just a good way of knowing that your leg is stacked properly. And as we keep the hips open, keep the shoulders open, we're going to hold this, feeling very strong, very powerful, grounded through the four corners of both feet, tall through that crown of head. From Warrior Two, coming into our triangle position, we straighten out that front leg, pitch the back hip up a little bit, reaching that right hand just a little bit farther. Allow the hand to come down towards the leg, the left hand to come up to the ceiling. Now, as we're holding our triangle pose, make sure we're not leaning. We never need the hand there, it's just for support. This top arm, if it becomes too much, you can hold your hip or rest the arm behind your lower back. Noticing that with your triangle, you've got the 2 points on the bottom, which are your feet, and that top corner, the top point, the third point of your triangle would be your hand. Trying to keep nice straight lines as we really focus on opening up through the inner thigh, strengthening through the sides of the body. Take one more big inhale, lift up, softening the knee. Slowly step back to the top of our mat and fidget those feet. We're going to take the other side now. So I'll ask that we hold our mountain pose again. I'm just going to turn to the other side of the mat. Rolling those shoulders down, really standing tall. Slight soft bend in the knees. We want to make sure that we're always standing with a slight athletic stance. So if the toughest wind blew our mountain, we're not going anywhere. We're rooted through the feet. Taking the right foot back now as we stand tall on that left front foot. Let's press the heel down to the ground. Open the toes out as wide as they need to go in order to keep the foot flat on the floor. Now, as we reach forward into that front knee, really lift up through the stomach. Stay strong through the shoulders, pull them down away from our ears. And now, are we able to close our eyes? See how our balance is today. Let's check in with that. Noticing as we continue to hold Warrior One, are we still able to feel strong through the feet? Powerful through the legs, proud through the chest and shoulders. Noticing that wonderful stretch of that back calf. Preparing to come into our Warrior Two position. Turning to the long edge of our mat, we open the hips. Now both hips and shoulders face the side. The left knee and left toe continue to face the front. That back foot is rotated so that it also toes towards the front or the side, depending on your hips. So kind of find the right angle for you. Holding really strong arms. Imagine that you're up against a wall and you want both hips, shoulders, hands, knees, and feet touching that wall behind you. So really open back. Let's take a couple of big breaths here. Spread out your toes. Spread out your fingers, trying to make everything in our body just a little bit longer. Preparing for triangle. Let's straighten out that front leg, never locked, a little bit soft. Take that back hip, reach it up, a little bit higher as we reach with our left hand. Lower the hand down to the floor as we reach that right hand high. And make sure we didn't just collapse in the shoulders. Keep pulling that left shoulder high to the ceiling, even if that hand's not reaching up. The left hand is just ever so gentle against the leg itself. Very nice, everybody. One big inhale to lift ourselves up. Nice soft knees here. And exhale slowly. Whew. Coming back to the top of our mat. From our warrior positions, we're going to stand again in Tadasana. Continue facing forward of your mat. Taking ourselves into tree. Testing our balance further now with one leg. We'll reach the right leg out to the side. Open your hip, drawing the foot in. The toe can stay on the ground like a kickstand of your bicycle. You can bring it up to your calf or all the way above your knee to the inner thigh. Try to avoid ever pressing your foot on your knee in case you were to accidentally lock it out. Keeping that knee pressing back just like we practiced in Warrior 2, let's reach the arms, either down through low-hanging branches, cactus, maybe high through prayer, or even into heart center. Noticing which arms helped us hold our position best. Remember, in yoga, no practice is ever the same. Try not to judge yourself or expect yourself to hold a position the exact same way you held it last week or even the class before. We allow each practice to just work its way through to the best of our abilities, keeping with our intention. Right now, our intention is balance, holding the pose, so that we can really work on furthering our balance ability. One more big inhale. Exhale, coming through the middle, and relax. Go ahead again and fidget through the feet. Encourage blood flow and circulation down through the toes. Once we're okay with that, reestablishing Tadasana. Very strong through the legs, tall through the torso, extending the left foot out to the side, opening up through the hip, drawing that foot in. We can take the foot to the floor, calf, or all the way above the knee to the inner thigh, opening that knee back against that imaginary wall behind us as we find the position with our arms. Whatever it might be today, let's make sure that the arms are in fact strong, they're purposeful, and they are helping us stand up a little bit taller, lifting out of that right supporting leg. Very good. Couple more breaths. Taking ourselves into one last big inhale. Exhale, come through the middle and releasing down. Fidget, fidget, fidget. Working our way to the top of our mat if we moved at all. Taking that big inhale, lift tall. Exhale, swan dive, hinging at the hips down into forward fold. Oh my goodness, this feels amazing. Just enjoying this stretch right now, whether we're feeling it up the backs or maybe down the legs. I'll ask that we slowly soften the knees, taking the hands to the ground, and we can step back into downward dog, however you need to get there. Pushing away from the hands, pulling back through the shoulders. Noticing the feet, let's pedal the feet as we walk the dog. Working any extra tension, any prickly cracklies out of those ankles. Now holding an amazing down dog, we're going to prepare for a three-legged dog or mountain lion sequence. From here, let's take our right foot up high to the sky. You can keep the foot lifting as the leg is either bent or straight. That's up to you. Holding it here, trying to keep the shoulders square to the floor, that left heel coming down to the ground. Continuing to hold this position, let's now open that right knee up towards the ceiling. As you open the right knee, you're going to notice your hips open as well. We can continue holding three-legged dog, or for those of you interested in mountain lion, we bring the foot back behind us, lifting our hips up higher to the ceiling and opening that right hand high to the sky. Really strong through that left supporting shoulder. Great stretch for the chest. Taking ourselves slowly in reverse to find down dog again. Feel free to pedal the feet, maybe even rest down in child's pose for a couple of breaths if that was preferred. Next, we're going to repeat that on the other side. So we take the left foot up off the ground, reaching the leg high to the sky. Again, we start with shoulders and hips square to the ground, really establishing a strong position. We never rush into a pose hoping we'll be able to get into it. Instead, we control each stage and each progression. making sure that we're absolutely able to succeed. Now we'll take that left knee up towards the ceiling, opening the hip, noticing if we'd like to stay here or further move into our mountain lion, in which case we'll take the left foot down towards the floor behind us, reaching the left hand up really nice and high to the sky, trying to get those hips up as high as you're able to. And whenever you're ready, we're going to start to reverse out of that. Control, control, control is the name of the game today. From down dog or child's pose. I'm going to hold this for just a moment. Good. And then everyone together, flip over onto your bum. Taking the legs out front. Oh, feeling very good. From here, let's open the legs out into our straddle split. Whatever that looks like for you today, whether it's a very open straddle split seated, or if you're feeling a little bit closer together with the legs. Listen to the body. Make sure that you're able to sit down on those sits bones, keeping your heels on the ground, toes up to the ceiling. Now, as we prepare to come into the next section, I want us to take that right hand down onto the inside of your right leg, taking the left arm all the way up to the ceiling, opening up through yet again another lateral extension, this time adding in that right hip stretch as we sit in our straddle split. Inhale, opening up, both arms are tall, taking the left knuckle onto the inside of the left leg. We open that right arm up, noticing an amazing side stretch. Whether you need to now extend that right arm overhead is up to you, or choosing to leave it, or even just relax it behind your back. Taking our next inhale, opening both arms. Exhale, relax the arms in front of us. Keeping your heels on the ground, toes up to the ceiling, go for a walk. We're going to walk forward, keeping the bum down on the ground. It can be a short walk or a long walk. As we hold these seated straddle splits, let's take this forward fold. Maybe we take our forehead onto stacked fists or hands. I want us just to relax into the position, noticing any stretch response we might be feeling through the inner thighs or the groin. A little bit lower perhaps if we're able to, keeping the bum down on the ground, heels on the ground with the toes to the ceiling. Legs are straight. Slowly coming back in with the hands. Good, and slowly just wiggle those legs forward. Preparing to come into butterfly. Again, the target is going to be through the groin, the inner thigh, into the hips. Also working towards stretching our neck. So as we hold our ankles up, sit up really nice and tall, hinging forward, keeping flat backs. Elbows can stay tucked in or press the knees down to aid in the stretch. As we reach forward, when there's no room left to go, let's just drop the head if that's comfortable, allowing the neck to also stretch out through the upper back, into the neck. Feel free to even rock the head slightly right to left if that's okay. Otherwise, just leaving it still, working towards nose to toes as we hold our butterfly pose. On your next exhale, rolling all the way up. Very nice. Let's help those knees in together. And just like our chest expansion, we're going to work towards stretching open the chest and shoulders again, finding ourselves in an inclined plank or inclined tabletop, also just an upside down tabletop. We start by taking our hands directly beneath the shoulders. Notice that my fingers are facing forward towards the feet. You could also have them slightly turned out to the side. What we avoid is the leaning at the beach pose with a hyperextended elbow. So make sure the fingers are either facing the side or in towards the bum. Taking the feet underneath the knees, we're going to lift the hips up as high as they'll go, trying to create 90-degree angles at the knees and shoulders, lifting up those hips. Have your head either so we're looking up to the ceiling or straight forward. As we hold this, we're not leaning into those shoulders ever. We're always pushing down and lifting up. So push down into the floor and lift up out of the shoulders. Feeling a really nice stretch in the chest. We'll hold this for just one more big inhale. And exhale, slowly lower down. Go ahead and round over, giving yourself a nice big hug. Transferring our weight onto our hands and knees, we're preparing for our frog stretch. With our knees directly beneath our hips, hands are spread out just slightly wider than our shoulders. We're going to walk the knees out as wide as they'll go. Turn the feet so that they're about 90 degrees. Notice that feet are 90 degrees, shins and thighs are 90 degrees, and then we'll come down onto our arms. I'll be turning to the side to show this again. Feel free to hold that or look up at the screen if you need just one more tutorial here. Good, so notice if you can that I'm trying to draw a straight line across knees and hips, not laying on the belly. My shirt lift up if I can show you that. There you go. From here, we're going to tuck the toes, take the hands onto the ground, and push ourselves back into child's pose. Hips come down nice and low. Just relaxing through those hips. Let's walk our hands over to the right, placing that left hand on top of right hand, pulling away from that left shoulder. One of my favorite shoulder stretches, stretching down the tricep, through the girdle, past the obliques and lats, into the hip. Walk the hands all the way over to the left side, placing the right hand on top, pull away from that right side. Notice what we're feeling. Maybe it's very similar to the left side, maybe it's very different. Noticing, and maybe figuring out why that may be. What have we done this week to cause this to happen? Walking the hands through the middle. We'll take our time as we come up through tabletop, sitting low onto the hips and finding ourselves coming all the way back down onto our mats. Taking the knees into the chest as we prepare for dead bug, also known as happy baby. We're going to lift the feet up so that we're placing the feet on the ceiling. Taking our peace fingers, pointer finger and middle finger, wrap them around your big toes. If that's not comfortable, feel free to take the hands onto the outside of the feet. And if that's not comfortable, just hold behind the knees instead. Keeping your knees really bent, open the legs out to the side, trying to keep the feet pressing up, putting imaginary footprints on the ceiling. We can use our elbows to help open the knees if they're available to us. And we try to keep our backs completely pressing down onto the floor. As we hold dead bug, just take a couple big breaths. And now slowly bringing those legs back in together. Take our time, releasing them down. Arms are coming out to the side into a T as we prepare for our supine spinal twist. We'll lift up both knees together. Take a big inhale at the top. Exhale, slowly lower them over to one side. We can take our free hand on the top leg if that helps with the stretch. We can always look over the opposite arm. Notice our breathing has really slowed down. Inhale, lifting the knees up. Exhale, lowering them over to the other side. And we can take our free hand to that top leg if that helps. Look over the opposite arm. And then slowly lifting those legs up again. holding on to the knees, feel free to stay here, or if you're interested in joining me in legs up the wall inverted pose, we're going to take ourselves rock and roll all the way up to sitting. So we can shift our mats over to the wall. Maybe it's a long journey, or maybe like mine, it's quite close. Once you get to the wall, if you're choosing to do so, you're going to sit perpendicular to it so that your bum is coming up nice and close and you're just laying in baby. And once you're ready to do so, we'll kick both legs all the way up. Once the legs are up on the wall, notice if they're able to be straight. We can take our arms out to the side into a T. Maybe we take the hands onto the belly. A favorite among the yogi world is to take our left hand onto the heart, our right hand onto the belly. Noticing with the right hand, the rise and fall of the stomach as we breathe in and out through the nose. The left hand on the heart, we may be able to feel our heart beating. And we should be able to start noticing our heartbeat coming slower and even slower as our body starts to cool down and calm down. And if our feet are up on the wall, we're going to start to notice that the legs are receiving less and less blood, and the blood is starting to concentrate in the heart and the head, maybe allowing us a little bit more room to think, to breathe, to feel. And if we decided to stay on our mats, making sure that we're very comfortable in our child or in our shavasana or modified pose, laying flat on the floor. And with our final relaxation, we're closing our eyes, becoming aware of our deeper, fuller breath. Breathing slower and slower. Noticing the muscles through the face, the neck and the shoulders have completely relaxed. Our eyelids are soft. Our jaw is relaxed as the tongue is come down from the roof of our mouth. We're no longer engaging through our core. We noticed our abdominal muscles have softened as we're engaging through our diaphragm, that balloon that lives underneath the stomach, feeling the rib cage open with each breath in, and noticing our body melts into the ground beneath us. What I'll ask everyone to do next is start to take our fingers and just begin wiggling them, rolling little circles with the wrists as well. Now start to wiggle through those toes. If our feet are up against the wall, they might be feeling quite cold at the moment. Let's take those feet and bring them into the chest all together. Give ourselves that nice big hug. A big thank you for taking care of our mind, body, and spirit today. As we slowly roll over into baby, take our time transferring out of that position and all the way up into our seated posture. Whether it's easy seated pose, lotus or half lotus, we'll make sure that we're comfortable on our sits bones, sitting up really nice and tall for our final breath together. I'd like to say thank you very much, everyone. We'll bring our arms up to prayer with a big inhale, exhaling down to heart center. Namaste.